Overview of Ad Collab, another module, 20 credits as normal. Semester 1 starts on the 25th of September, runs through to Christmas. As you can see, the hand-in isn't in the last week, week 12. It's actually the first Monday of the holidays. That just gives you a few more days once you hand in the other two modules, especially the case study on Friday the 13th. And feedback, as you can see, then as normal, mid-January. So I'll be running this module with you on a Wednesday morning in CAD 301 for 12 weeks. And also you've got some additional support from Stephen. There's his contact details there. Stephen is a freelance motion designer and editor and creator. There's a lot of freelance work for our university and others, a lot of high profile clients, and he is going to help you with some of the production skills that you need. I really want you guys to have a video piece in your book for next summer's graduation, and also I want something based on charity and good causes, not just commercial brands. So again, it's another string to your bow. It's another skills that you guys have got upon graduating next summer. So this module, we're going to work with the third sector. So as I said, I want us to look at working and collaborating. So add collaboration, as it's in the tin, so you can collaborate with each other, collaborate with other courses. Again, I'll talk about later. Media production could come on this, but more importantly, you're collaborating with a client. Again, similar to what we do with the agency, you're going to work on a client brief and deliver a motion campaign at the end of the 12 weeks. So as I mentioned previously, the skills you've learned in the agency, obviously good, working in groups, present to the client, maybe working to restrictions. Instead of a budget this time, you're working to a restriction of a 30-second window. Plus, obviously, you've got to factor in the brand ethos and the needs of the charity or good cause involved. So obviously, there's an element of ethics and issues because you may be dealing with sensitive topics. So again, obviously, an element of discretion and for consideration what you're actually going to put out in the public domain. So we're not going to go word for word, and it's a module overview. So there's two assessments to this 20 credit module. Part 1 is a presentation, which you're doing on the last Wednesday of the semester. And then part 2 then is of the response. So the actual presentation is actually assessed this time, unlike what you've done previously. And then obviously there's the response to the brief. So there's part 1 and part 2. So what I've done, I've broken the brief down into little sections, nothing too complicated. You're still working within the Rado ethos of 25% of each, but I'm trying to break it down into little bite-sized chunks. So what's going to happen in the next few weeks is about the first month of the module, so about the first third of the module time, you're going to have clients coming in or potential clients. They're going to pitch their good cause or charity. If none of them appeal to you, you could source your own. You obviously can run that by me. And then you're going to generally look at charities and non-profit organization. That'll be a chunk of your research. Then once you've chosen your client, as I said, it could be a charity that walk into the studio. You could source your own, you could outreach your own, or it could be a good cause. Then obviously you're going to look at what their needs are. Their brief could be very loose, they could be really tight. And then you can put together a proposal then in order to produce the actual piece of work, which primarily is a 30-second motion ad with sound to reflect the needs of the charity. It's a really nice thing to have in your book for next summer. So you don't just have commercial brands or D&AD briefs or self-indulgent FMPs. You've got a nice heavyweight motion piece, especially as we now obviously live in a world post-COVID of very much kind of socially more, people are more responsible and socially aware human beings. So what you put together your proposal, write a proposal, look at the target audience, obviously look at the tone of voice and consider what the charities are. You guys may all have different charities, so there's no kind of one way of doing this. Again, it's a good warm up for your FMP because there's elements of individuality in this. And then once you put your proposal together and you've done your research and that's been discussed with myself, then you're going to work on your campaign, which is a 30-second ad with audio, plus then add a little 5-10 second short pre-roll or Insta or a little kind of, could be a TikTok, just to summarize that. And then the third one is a bit of a kind of open brief, then produce 3 still images. So again, they could be out of home, they could be print, they could be posters. Obviously they have copy, they need call to action, they need to obviously reflect, because so all 3 elements need to have the same house style and branding and look like they're an integrated campaign. So going back to collaboration also, if you aren't very comfortable using the software, or you're struggling with the motion editing, then obviously you can collab with the media students. So there's a date there of the 23rd of October. Email Paul and put together a pitch pack. I'll discuss this more when I unpack the module, and then Paul can sign you up to some of his students. Again, this is an overview, I want to elaborate. And then if you do work in a team, then I'm going to do a nice peer evaluation at the end of who did what. Somebody maybe did the storyboard, somebody did the audio, somebody wrote the script. So again, some of you guys work in pairs very well. And then you are, as I said, you are presenting on the 11th, which is the last Wednesday of semester 1. And then, as I said at the start, that's 30% of your module. And then there's your checklist again. I'll elaborate on that when we unpack the module nearer the time to make sure you guys are set. And then there's your 2 assessment points. Part 1 is obviously the presentation, and part 2 is the actual creative response to the campaign. And then, as I said, both are handed in on the first Monday, which gives you guys a little bit of breathing space once you hand in your 2 previous modules. Okay, key dates, again, I'll elaborate on those. So you've got 4 workshops with Stephen. Then you, as I said, you can put together a pitch pack. Then we'll do some nice light touch formatives, kind of about halfway through, see how you guys are getting on, and then the final presentation. And then, as I said, there's the final hand in. So aims and objectives, I won't go through all those, but they very tick the box for this module. Again, learn outcomes, I'll talk about those. Normal hand-in process of Rado and the 5 days. Again, I'll remind you guys of that when we unpack the module. And then also the normal criteria as you guys are in year 3. As I said, you're going to have a formative halfway through to see how you guys are getting on with your storyboards and your charity. Is it on track? And then there's your deliverables, which obviously your proposal, your campaign, and the presentation at the end, 2 parts. And then I'll go through, I'll skip past the assessment criteria, which you guys know. Again, I'll discuss that in class if you need a recap. Your reading list, and then obviously your scheme of work. So as I said with this one, it's subject to change because obviously we've got clients coming in. Therefore, if we've got clients coming in, there may be an element of having to move around because these obviously are industry clients. So we unpack the module. I'm going to show some good examples of previous, and then your briefings start. So I'm trying to condense the briefings in the first 4 or 5 weeks. So then all these clients come in, they can pitch to you, and then you can nail down. If you're obviously you do want to make a decision towards the end, and then rather than have nothing to do, you can work on your research and you can work on your backstory. So don't worry about that so much. So as you can see, Stephen's workshops then start on week 2, and then the agencies will start coming in. Some agencies are going to actually come into the studio. Some agencies will be online. And then again, Stephen's workshops week 4 and 5. And then by then, week 5, I'm trying to wrap up all the agencies. And then you guys can obviously make a decision. Then Phil's going to do a design thinking, how to break down the brief. And then we're going to look at formative. So week 7 and 8, we can have some studio time, 1-to-1 or group tutorials. And then you're going to pitch your ideas to Stephen and myself on that key date of your storyboards, any filming. Make sure you guys are on track. And then as we get towards the end of the module, lots of studio time, final reviews. And then, as I said, is a 30% presentation on the 11th and hand in on the 16th. And the feedback sheet is, as you know, it's 2 parts, part 1 and part 2. Part 1 being the presentation, and part 2, the actual campaign you guys produce. So there's the overview of the module. I'll unpack it week 1, which is the 25th of September. But that's a nice little overview just for you guys to get a feel for it.